Hey, you, yes, you in the janitor's uniform at the back. Come up here now. Harper Weston's voice cut through the Ryman auditorium like a blade through ice. 500 guests turned at once. On the live stream, more than 2 million viewers locked eyes on the same moment. Cole Brennan, 32 years old, stood motionless. His hands shook, still trapped inside bright yellow rubber gloves. He had finished wiping down the stage barely 10 minutes earlier, and now he looked like a mistake that had wandered into the wrong spotlight. I'm sorry, ma'am, I didn't think. Don't make excuses. Harper didn't let him finish. She marched forward, seized Cole by the shoulder and dragged him into the center of the blazing stage lights, like an object being placed on display. Let everyone see, she said, her sweetness stretched so thin, it sounded fake. Whether you can actually sing, or whether you're just taking up space. She snapped her fingers sharply at the band, the way one orders a waiter. Play higher ground for him. A smirk curled across her lips. That impossible high note, she added, the same one that once earned me $2 million. As the band prepared to come in, Harper leaned close. She switched off her own microphone, but Cole's mic was still live. Her voice dropped to a whisper, soft and lethal. Fail quietly, kid. The air turned solid. The entire hall seemed to stop breathing, under lights hot as fire, with hundreds of eyes in front of him and millions more behind a screen. Cole stood frozen. What he was about to do wouldn't just prove Harper Weston wrong. It threatened to unravel everything she had built on lies. If you enjoy stories where the tables turn in the most unexpected ways, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the videos we release every week, because what happens next is where things truly begin to get unsettling. The real question is this: why was Harper so desperate to humiliate a janitor in front of millions? What was she afraid of? To go this far, to understand why this moment matters, we need to rewind 4 hours earlier. Cole Brennan was not always a man who cleaned floors. 5 years ago, he was one of the most promising contestants on Voice of Tomorrow, the hit talent competition where Harper Weston herself sat as a judge. Cole possessed a rare high tenor voice with a range stretching from C3 all the way to C6. But what impressed professionals most wasn't just how high he could sing. It was how effortlessly he moved between registers. His transitions from chest voice to head voice flowed like water, so smooth that listeners couldn't even tell where the change happened. Everyone expected Cole to go far. Some called him the ace of the season. Then came finale night. Backstage, just as everything he had worked for was within reach, Cole's phone vibrated. It was the hospital. His wife, Grace, had been rushed to the emergency room. Acute pneumonia. Critical condition. Cole stood frozen. Ahead of him were the lights, the cameras, and millions of viewers. Behind him was the woman he loved. He didn't hesitate. He didn't ask permission. He didn't explain. Cole walked out of the show that very night and ran straight to the hospital. The public turned on him instantly. Irresponsible, unprofessional, throwing away the opportunity of a lifetime. Then Harper Weston appeared on television and delivered a single cold sentence that slammed every door shut. Anyone who doesn't respect an opportunity doesn't deserve a dream. 3 days later, Grace passed away. Their daughter, Lily, was born prematurely at 32 weeks, weighing just over 1 kilogram, with a hole in her heart. Cole was quietly blacklisted from the entertainment industry. No record label would sign him. No stage would invite him back. His voice, uncelebrated, was erased. For the next 5 years, Cole survived as a janitor. Today, he and Lily live in East Nashville, in an old 2-bedroom apartment, where the heating works in only one room. Cole works 2 shifts a day. In the mornings, he cleans the Ryman Auditorium. At night, he washes dishes at a restaurant on Broadway. He sleeps less than 4 hours a night. Lily needs heart surgery. Cost $85,000. Insurance covers 40%. Cole needs $45,000. Within 2 weeks, he doesn't allow himself to think about the words, what if not? But there is one thing Cole never gave up. He still sings. Every night, he sings Lily to sleep. You Are My Sunshine, Grace's favorite song. He sings softly, carefully, as if raising his voice even slightly might cause the memories of Grace to crash down and crush him. Lily often whispers, Daddy, your voice makes my heart feel better. The nurses have noticed it too. Lily's heart rate steadies whenever Cole sings. No one can explain it, but Cole knows the truth. It isn't technique, it isn't pitch, and it isn't a miracle. It's love, the only thing he still has left to give his daughter. That same night, Harper Weston hosted a charity gala called Voices for Hope at the Ryman Auditorium. Publicly, the event was meant to raise funds for Vanderbilt Children's Hospital and its congenital heart treatment program. The irony was cruel. That was the very condition Lily was suffering from. Cole was assigned to the evening shift, cleaning backstage. He knew exactly what the money raised that night could mean: $500 per ticket. $250,000 in ticket sales alone, enough to save children like his daughter. Harper stepped onto the stage, the spotlight wrapping around her like a crown. She smiled confidently and announced, "Tonight, I will sing Higher Ground." The final note, "Silo," has never been reached by any singer other than me. That is why I stand here, and that is why I am able to help these children. The audience exploded into applause. From the upper balcony, Cole quietly looked up at the massive screen showing images of children with heart disease. Among them was Lily. He had signed the consent forms himself, allowing the hospital to use his daughter's image. The rehearsal began. Cole was wiping down the glass backstage when Harper walked in to warm up her voice. The band struck the opening chords of Higher Ground. Harper's voice filled the room with confidence in the lower register. Strong, polished, exactly what people expected from a superstar. But as the song climbed into the bridge, rising through then heading straight for the legendary Cedo, Cole felt something tighten in his chest. Something was wrong. Harper's neck muscles stiffened. Her shoulders lifted, just slightly, small signs, but unmistakable. When she reached for the Cedo, her voice fractured, cracking out at a sharp B-woo, nearly a tone and a half below the note she claimed to own. She cleared her throat quickly, masking the mistake. "My throat's a little dry," she said casually. Then she turned to the sound technician and muttered, "Turn up the backing track. Louder. I need more support." The technician adjusted the controls. Harper tried again. This time, the high note rang out. Clean, flawless, perfect. Too perfect. Cole stood frozen. Years of musical training had sharpened his ears. He could hear the truth, the faint metallic edge of digital sound, the way the note floated above the harmony instead of blending into it. That Cedo wasn't coming from Harper Weston. It was coming from the speakers. 5 years vanished in an instant. Cole remembered Harper's words, broadcast on television after he left the competition. "Anyone who doesn't respect an opportunity doesn't deserve a dream." She had destroyed his career for being unprofessional, while she herself was cheating. Cole returned to the janitor's room, his mind racing. Who would ever believe a cleaning man over a singer who had sold 4 million albums? Then another thought cut deeper. Lily, his daughter, was watching the live stream from her hospital bed, believing Harper Weston was a hero, believing this gala truly existed to help children like her. Cole pulled out his phone and searched Harper's past charity events. One small article published the year before had slipped almost completely unnoticed. Only 0% of the funds from Voices for Hope had reached the hospital. The remaining 0% was labeled administrative expenses, 15%. Out of $250,000, barely $37,000 had actually gone to sick children. The rest? Harper's management company, production costs, marketing for her personal brand. Something ignited in Cole's chest. Not rage, but resolve. A 32-year-old man who had lost his wife, who was raising a critically ill child alone, standing in a cold janitor's room, deciding that enough was enough. At 7 o'clock sharp, the gala began. 500 guests filled the auditorium. 2 million viewers watched online. Cole finished his shift, put away his tools, and turned to leave. Then he stopped. Harper Weston stepped onto the stage in a shimmering sequined gown, the lights sculpting her into something almost unreal. "Ladies and gentlemen," she said warmly, "tonight is not just about music. It's about hope. It's about giving these children a chance to fight." The audience erupted in applause. The cameras swept to the massive screen behind her. Images of children with heart disease appeared one by one, and there, among them, was Lily. Harper's voice softened. "Every ticket, every donated dollar will go directly toward helping these little hearts." Cole stared at his daughter's face. In that moment, he knew he couldn't allow Harper to lie for even one more second. She sang 3 songs. Her voice was good, trained, precise, professional, but unremarkable. Then she smiled confidently and announced the next number, Higher Ground. "This song proves that when you believe in yourself, you can reach unimaginable heights." The band began. Harper sang, exactly as she had during rehearsal. As the song surged toward its climax, the Cedo rang out again. Perfect, clean, flawless, and completely artificial. Cole stepped out from the shadows of the wings. No plan, no script. Just a man who had been silent for 5 years, making a single courageous decision. Harper saw him instantly. Her eyes narrowed. She recognized him, the former contestant, the man who had walked away before the finale. A cold smile slowly crept across her face. "Ladies and gentlemen," she announced, "we have a special guest." The lights snapped on. 500 heads turned. The camera zoomed in. Cole stood there in a janitor's uniform, yellow rubber gloves, still on his hands, a cleaning cloth draped over his shoulder. "Cole Brennan," Harper said smoothly. "Some of you may remember him from Voice of Tomorrow 5 years ago. A true talent. So much potential." She paused, letting the word potential linger, until he walked away right before the finale. No explanation, no apology, he simply disappeared. The audience began to murmur. My wife was dying, Cole said, loud enough for those near the stage to hear. Harper either didn't hear, or chose not to. And now look at him, she said with a thin smile. Cleaning up after successful people. How touching. A few cold laughs rippled through the hall. Blood rushed to Cole's face, but he didn't shake. He had survived far worse. Come up here, Cole, Harper said sweetly. Sing for us. Every instinct screamed at him to leave, to go back to Lily. But if he walked away now, Harper would win. She would keep lying, keep profiting off children with broken hearts. And one day, Lily would watch this moment again and think her father was a coward. Cole stepped onto the stage. Each step felt impossibly heavy. Harper placed a microphone in his hand. Make yourself comfortable, she said. Just do your best. Before the band could play a single note, Cole spoke. Miss Weston, I have a question. Harper raised an eyebrow. Go ahead. Could you turn off the backing track? The air froze. Harper smiled, but her eyes didn't. The track is part of the arrangement, Cole. But during rehearsal, Cole replied calmly, you sang without it. You sang alone. The murmuring spread through the room. Soundcheck is different from a performance, Harper said, her voice tightening. Then could you sing first? Cole continued. Just you. No track. So I can learn how you do it. 3 seconds of absolute silence. Then Harper laughed sharply. You want me to audition in front of you? No, Cole said evenly. I just want to know whether you can actually sing. The auditorium erupted. Gasps, shocked laughter, disbelief. Harper stared at him as if he had struck her. Of course I can sing, she hissed. I've been doing it for 15 years. Then prove it. Harper spun toward the sound technician. Turn off the track. All of it. The technician hesitated. Do it. He pressed the button. The music instantly stripped down to its bare bones. No effects. No padding. Nowhere to hide. Harper Weston lifted the microphone and began to sing. At first, her voice filled the auditorium with confidence. Strong, trained, authoritative. She moved through the opening lines effortlessly. Every breath controlled. Every phrase polished by years of practice. The audience slowly relaxed. Maybe the janitor had been wrong. Then the bridge arrived. The melody began to climb. GCBC. Harper stayed with it. Steady, composed, still in control. But as the pitch rose higher, subtle cracks appeared. Her neck tightened. Her shoulders crept upward. D-woo, O, F-woo. The sound was still there, but it had changed. It was heavier now. Forced, no longer natural. Then came the C-ill. Harper reached for it, and her voice shattered. The note broke at a sharp B-woo, splintering through the hall like glass hitting the floor. She stopped. A strange smile flashed across her face as she cleared her throat. Sorry, my throat's a bit dry. She took a sip of water and tried to sound reassuring. That's why artists use tracks, to protect their voices during long shows. But it was too late. Everyone had heard it. You can't sing it, Cole said quietly. Harper spun around. Her smile had hardened into a thin line of ice. I said my voice is tired. But on your album, you sing that note 27 times, Cole replied. Louder now, I counted. And in every live performance online, you hit it perfectly, every single time. The audience stirred, phones lifted. Whispers spread. What exactly is he saying? Is he accusing her of something? I have perfect pitch, Cole continued. I hear frequencies. The note on your album is E10 Sishado der Wusausha Ertz. C-ill. The note you just sang was Jobai Senshar Sausha Ertz. A sharp B-woo. A voice rang out from the crowd. Is that true? Harper's face flushed. And the voice on your album, Cole pressed on, no longer holding back, doesn't sound like yours. It belongs to another woman. I checked the credits. It lists Autumn Haze, additional vocals. The theater erupted. Journalists typed furiously. Audience members shouted questions. Cameras abandoned their steady angles, scrambling to capture every reaction. Harper strode toward Cole, her expression stripped of all warmth. You need to shut up now? Why? Cole asked. For the first time since stepping on stage, fear loosened its grip. Because I'm telling the truth. You don't know what you're talking about. I know what I heard during rehearsal, Cole said. Then he turned, staring straight into the camera, into the eyes of 2 million viewers. And I know what I'm hearing right now. That high note isn't yours. You've been lip-dance syncing for 15 years. Harper's hand shot out, gripping Cole's arm, not painful but controlling. It's over, she said coldly before she could drag him away. A voice cut through the chaos. Actually, he's right. The entire auditorium snapped toward the wings. Daniel Park, Harper's sound engineer, stepped into the light. His face was pale, but his eyes were steady. I've been Harper Weston's sound engineer for 5 years, he said. At every performance, I played that backing track. She has never sung that note live, not once. Silence crashed down like a heavy curtain. Harper stared at him as if he had stabbed her in the back. You're fired, she whispered. I know, Daniel replied calmly. but he's a single father raising a daughter with a heart condition, and he's been braver than I've been, for 5 years. Absolute stillness. 500 people in the auditorium held their breath. 2 million watched online. Harper Weston stood frozen at center stage, her empire collapsing in real time. "This is ridiculous," she snapped, her voice shaking. "You expect people to believe a janitor over me? I have 2 Grammy Awards. I've sold 4 million albums?" "Then prove him wrong," someone shouted. "Sing the note." Harper's face drained of color. "I just sang it." "No." Another voice yelled. "You cracked." We all heard it. The crowd began to turn. Harper looked at Cole, something dark twisting inside her chest. "Fine," she said coldly. "You think you're so smart? Then you sing? Right now, no preparation, no warm up, no second chance." Cole's hands trembled. This was the moment. Either he proved who he truly was, or became exactly what Harper Weston had always called him. From the seats, an old but steady voice rang out. "You've got this, Cole." Cole turned. Raymond Callahan, Ray, the 60-year-old janitor, who had worked at the Ryman for 30 years, was standing clapping slowly. "Sing the way you sing for Lily." Cole closed his eyes. He drew in a deep breath, felt the air fill his lungs, his diaphragm open. Every lesson, every memory, every loss settled into his bones. He opened his eyes and nodded to the band. "Play Higher Ground." No track. The music began. For the second time that night, Higher Ground filled the room, but everything was different. Cole's voice entered softly, almost cautiously. The opening lines rested comfortably in his range. He focused on the story, not the crowd. A few audience members exchanged glances. He sounded good, solid, but nothing extraordinary yet. Then the pre-Zan chorus arrived. His voice opened, power rising without strain. There was something raw, something honest, something Harper's polished performance had never touched. He wasn't performing. He was confessing. The melody climbed. D-woo, F-woo. Cole followed effortlessly, light and clear, every note placed with precision. No tension, no force. Harper shifted uneasily. The bridge arrived, the place where she had fallen apart. Cole didn't hesitate. He transitioned smoothly from chest voice into head voice. Seamless as flowing water, G-woo, A-B-woo. The entire auditorium leaned forward. Then Cole reached for C-do. The note burst out, pure, crystal Jan clear. No break, no strain, no tricks. A whistle Jan register tone ringing like a bell. He held it for 4 seconds. Perfect. Unbelievable. A gasp rippled through the front row, but Cole wasn't finished. He pushed higher, D-do, E-do, F-do. Notes even Harper's backing track had never dared to reach. Cole's face remained calm, almost peaceful, as if he were walking through a place he had known his entire life. Then, with complete control, he brought the voice back down. F-do to C-do, C-do to A, A to F-woo. Every transition seamless, every note, a small miracle. He carried the bridge into the final chorus, his voice now fully open. No hiding, no fear. When the final word dissolved into silence, the room froze. Then the theater exploded. All 500 people leapt to their feet, cheering, shouting, applauding, faces streaked with tears. Ray jumped up and down, both arms raised. The entire band stood, clapping non-stop online. The live stream went wild. Within 30 seconds, 50,000 shares. Within a minute, the name Cole Brennan shot to the top of global trending lists. Cole stood beneath the lights, chest heaving, struggling to comprehend what had just happened. Harper Weston looked as if she had been knocked flat. Her face was drained of color. From the front row, a woman stood up. Yolanda Carter, R&B legend, special guest. She was crying. "That," she said, her voice breaking, "is the best thing I've ever heard from a janitor in my entire career." The crowd laughed through tears. "Cole, you didn't just hit that note, you owned it." The applause surged even louder. Then Trevor Hudson rose from his seat, a producer who had worked with Alicia Keys and Kendrick Lamar. He shook his head slowly. "I need to say something," he said. "I've been in this industry for 30 years, and tonight we watched a janitor sing a note that the woman who made it famous truly cannot." Silence fell. Trevor turned to the audience. "I mixed the album. I was there. Cole is right. That voice isn't Harper's. It belongs to Autumn Hayes, a studio singer from Austin. She was paid $2,000 and forced to sign an NDA. She was never properly credited." Harper opened her mouth. Nothing came out. "I stayed silent," Trevor continued, "because that's what people do in this industry. Protect the star. Protect the money, but I'm done protecting lies, especially when a janitor has shown more courage than I have in 3 decades. The theater erupted again. Journalists typed frantically. Cameras abandoned their positions and rushed the stage. "This is insane," Harper screamed at last. "You're going to destroy my career over a backing track. Everyone uses tracks. Beyonce uses tracks. But they don't claim they're singing live. Yolanda shot back instantly. They don't sell tickets for live performances and lip sync. That's fraud, Harper. I never, Harper stammered, searching for support, but the band had turned away. Her manager was already on the phone, likely calling a lawyer. Harper turned toward Cole. In her eyes, he saw not just rage, but fear. You'll regret this, she whispered, just loud enough for the microphone to catch it. You, your little family, and your sick daughter. I promise, you'll never work in this industry again. Never. The threat hung in the air, captured by every camera. But Cole wasn't afraid anymore. For the first time in 5 years, he felt free. I don't work in this industry, Cole said calmly. I sing because I love it, and you can't take that from me. He paused, then added slowly, clearly, but maybe it's time someone took this from you. Silence, then a single clap echoed, slow, deliberate. Another followed, and within seconds, all 500 people rose to their feet, applauding. Not for Harper Weston, but for a father who refused to lie. Harper looked around at the cameras, at the ruins of everything she had built. There was nothing left to say. She turned and walked off the stage. The moment she disappeared into the wings, the theater erupted again. Phones lit up everywhere. The live chat scrolled too fast to read. Check Twitter, someone shouted. She's trending, not Cole Brennan, but Harper Weston exposed. Harper Weston cheated. Harper Weston's career is over. Everything moved at dizzying speed. Within 5 minutes, Harper's Wikipedia page was edited. 10 minutes later, major music blogs posted headlines. Famous singer exposed by a janitor, live on stage. 15 minutes later, 3 major sponsors released statements announcing they were reconsidering their partnerships. Cole remained on stage, surrounded by chaos he had caused simply by telling the truth. He didn't feel proud or victorious, just a quiet certainty that he had done the right thing, without knowing what came next. Nearly 20 minutes passed before security finally cleared the auditorium. Backstage, Cole sat on a folding chair. Ray stayed beside him. Around them, adults whispered urgently. Event organizers, executives in expensive suits, people speaking rapidly into phones. No one spoke to Cole. His phone vibrated. A message from the hospital. Lily had watched the live stream from her bed. Daddy, I saw it. You sang so beautifully. Cole swallowed hard. Are you okay, sweetheart? I'm okay, Daddy. The nurses watched too. They said you were amazing. That call had come an hour earlier. Now it was nearly midnight. The children's choir had gone home. The theater was almost empty, crew members dismantling equipment. Cole was still on that folding chair. Ray was still there, refusing to leave. Then Harper's lawyer appeared. Olivia Sterling, a woman in her early 50s, entered backstage. Her tailored suit likely cost more than 6 months of Cole's salary. A leather briefcase in hand, a polite smile that never reached her eyes. Mr. Brennan, she said, pulling up a chair. I'm Olivia Sterling. I represent Miss Weston. Ray immediately stood, positioning himself beside Cole. He doesn't have a lawyer present, Ray said calmly but firmly. If this turns into a legal discussion, he'll need representation. Of course, Olivia replied smoothly. I'm not here for formal negotiations, just to resolve an unfortunate misunderstanding. There is no misunderstanding, Cole said quietly. Your client cannot sing the notes that made her famous. That's fraud. Olivia's smile didn't falter. The music industry is complex. Mr. Brennan, she said. Artists use vocal support, backing tracks, studio techniques. That's standard practice. Tonight was simply a misunderstanding of professional context. I understand that she lied, Cole said quietly. Olivia turned toward him, her expression smooth but sharp. No, Mr. Brennan, you misunderstand, and that misunderstanding is causing serious harm to Miss Weston. Sponsors are threatening to pull out. The tour is in jeopardy. Millions of dollars are at stake. The word harm lingered in the air like a warning. Olivia opened her briefcase and placed a thick stack of documents on the table. If you sign this, she said evenly, everything disappears. Cole picked up the papers and skimmed them. His face didn't change. At 32, he had seen enough contracts to recognize a trap when it was laid in front of him. This says I made false accusations, Cole said calmly. That I apologize, that I was seeking attention. It's a mutual agreement, Olivia replied. In return, Miss Weston will not pursue legal action. As a gesture of goodwill, she'll also fund a $100,000 music scholarship for you. Any program, full coverage. Olivia paused deliberately. We're also aware your daughter needs surgery. Miss Weston will cover the entire $85,000. Cole set the papers down. $185,000 enough to save Lily, enough to change everything. But Cole had watched his wife die. He had spent 5 years raising a critically ill child alone, and he had learned that some things cannot be purchased, no matter the price. And if I don't sign? Cole asked. Olivia's smile thinned. Then Miss Weston will file defamation lawsuits against you, against anyone repeating your claims, and against the Ryman Auditorium for allowing a hostile environment. She paused again. Your daughter's school district has also been informed that a $500,000 donation to its music program is now at risk. Ray's fists clenched, but he stayed silent. This was Cole's decision alone, so Olivia concluded. You can sign here, accept the scholarship, and let everyone move on. Or you can refuse and watch your family drown in legal fees you'll never be able to afford. She met Cole's gaze. The choice is yours. Cole stared at the pages. The signature that would label him a liar. The words that would erase everything the world had just witnessed. He thought of Lily in her hospital bed, of $85,000 due in 2 weeks, or never. Then he thought of the truth. No, Cole said. Olivia blinked. Excuse me? I'm not signing, Cole repeated. I didn't lie. She did. And I won't say I lied, just because she's rich and I'm not. Mr. Brennan, Olivia said coldly, I don't think you understand the consequences. I understand you're threatening me, Cole replied, standing up. His hands trembled, but his eyes didn't waver. Go ahead and sue me. I'm not signing that paper. Olivia's face hardened. Then I'll see you in court. She gathered her briefcase, then turned back one last time. By tomorrow morning, there will be stories about you, about your family, private, painful things. And when it all gets worse, and it will, remember that you chose this. Then she walked away. Ray didn't hug Cole. He didn't offer hollow comfort. The two men simply stood side by side in silence. After a moment, Ray spoke softly. You sure? Cole nodded. I'm sure. If I take that money, I teach my daughter that the truth can be bought with fear. His voice was steady, the voice of a father who had just made the hardest decision of his life. I chose family over career 5 years ago. People said I was wrong. But Grace, even while she was dying, she said she was proud of me. That's enough. Ray nodded once. Then we fight. They stepped into the cold Nashville night, two men who had chosen truth over money. The next morning, Cole woke to his phone buzzing like a hornet's nest. It was 6 a.m. He'd slept barely 3 hours. Notifications flooded the screen. He opened Twitter. The first image hit him like a punch. A photo of his apartment in East Nashville. Peeling paint. A broken security gate. Overflowing trash bins. This is where Cole Brennan lives. The caption read. While he accuses Harper Weston of cheating, it's clear he's just trying to escape poverty. Cole's hands went numb. Another post followed. An old photo of a free lunch he'd received years ago, living off handouts his whole life. This was never about truth. It was about money. The comments were vicious, ungrateful. He should be thanking Harper. This is what happens when you give people like this a chance. People like this. His phone kept vibrating. Unknown numbers, insults, threats. By noon, the smear campaign was everywhere. News sites ran eerily similar articles. Sources close to the Brennan family claim Cole planned the incident as an extortion scheme. No evidence. No verification. Just published by afternoon. Harper's legal team filed a $10 million defamation lawsuit. Not only against Cole, but against Autumn Hayes, Trevor Hudson, Daniel Park, Anion, who had spoken up $10 million. Cole stared at the legal papers delivered to his apartment, his hands shaking so badly he could barely hold them. It wasn't about winning. It was about crushing them with fear and legal costs. And it wasn't over. By 4 p.m., new stories appeared. Sources claim Cole Brennan struggles with alcohol issues. Family history of violence playing the victim for settlement money? None of it was true. By 5 p.m., another outlet claimed Lily didn't even have a heart condition, that it was all staged. Cole sat on the old sofa, phone trembling in his hand, watching lies pile up like mud. The walls felt like they were closing in then. At 7:15 p.m., everything changed. A woman named Autumn Hayes posted a video. She appeared in her late 30s, blonde, seated in a professional recording studio. Gold records lined the wall behind her. My name is Autumn Hayes, she said directly to the camera. I am a studio singer, and I am the voice Harper Weston has been selling as her own for the past 15 years. Cole's heart slammed against his ribs. That man told the truth last night, Autumn continued. I sang The Whistle, Register Note in Higher Ground, and 6 other songs. I was paid $2,000 per song and forced to sign a non-disclosure agreements. She held up a stack of documents. This is my contract, she said. This is the proof. And I stayed silent. Autumn continued in the video. While a janitor was being crushed for daring to expose something I was too afraid to say. The video had been online for just 8 minutes, and already had 50,000 views. Within an hour, it crossed 2 million. Within 3 hours, 7 more studio singers came forward. Each had contracts. Each had recordings. Each confirmed the same truth. Cole Brennan had been right. By noon the next day, public opinion flipped completely. Harper Weston exposed surged to the top of trending. Not on rumor, not on speculation, but on evidence. Cole sat on his worn sofa, watching the internet dismantle the woman who had tried to destroy him. And for the first time since this began, he understood something clearly. He was no longer alone. But Harper Weston did not retreat quietly. Even as 7 singers spoke out, even as proof piled higher than denial could survive, Harper refused to back down. By that afternoon, her legal team filed a $10 million lawsuit. Again, not just against Cole. They sued Autumn Hayes for violating her NDA. They sued the Ryman Auditorium for creating a hostile environment. $10 million. The goal wasn't justice. It was fear. Cole sat alone at the small kitchen table, gripping the summons until his knuckles turned white. Loss had taught him something important. To survive, you don't fight with emotion. You fight with reason. His phone buzzed. An unfamiliar number. Mr. Brennan, a woman said. My name is Melissa Morales. I'm an attorney. I'd like to represent you, pro bono. Cole straightened. Why? Because what you did was right, she replied. And because my firm believes the legal system should never be used as a weapon by the wealthy to silence people who tell the truth? She paused. But the decision is yours. You're a father. This is your life. Cole looked down at the summons. If I agree, can we win? Melissa didn't soften the truth. Legally, yes, we have a strong case. But Harper has money and time. She can drag this out. Exhaust you. This won't be easy. Cole nodded. That was exactly what he needed. Not reassurance, but honesty. All right, he said. We do it. Within an hour, the kitchen table was buried in files. Melissa moved quickly, methodically. Her lawsuit is nonsense, she said bluntly. Defamation requires false statements. Everything you said was true. This is intimidation, not litigation. So what do we do? Cole asked. That was exactly what he needed. Not reassurance, but honesty. All right, he said. We do it. Within an hour, the kitchen table was buried in files. Melissa moved quickly, methodically. Her lawsuit is nonsense, she said bluntly. Defamation requires false statements. Everything you said was true. This is intimidation, not litigation. So what do we do? Cole asked. We counter. Sue, Melissa replied. Fraud, false advertising. Breach of contract with ticket buyers. We make it a class action. We turn this into something she can't afford to continue. Then, the next morning, everything changed. At 4 a.m., Lily woke in panic. She was struggling to breathe. Her lips turned blue. Cole slammed the call button. Doctors rushed in. Oxygen machines. Words he barely processed. Heart failure. Acute risk. Emergency intervention. They stabilized Lily, but Dr. Walsh pulled Cole aside. We need to operate sooner, he said carefully. Her heart is weakening faster than expected. We may only have a week, maybe less. But insurance, Cole began. We're working on it, the doctor said. But this is open. Heart surgery, 8 hours. High risk even if it succeeds. Complications are still possible. At 3 a.m., after Lily fell asleep again, Cole sat alone in the waiting room. There was nowhere else to go. He stared at his phone. Olivia Sterling's name still sat in his call history. One call signed the papers, save his daughter. His finger hovered over the screen. The door opened softly. Lily stepped out, still in her hospital gown, dragging her IV pole. Daddy, she whispered. Are you okay? Cole wiped his eyes quickly. I'm okay, sweetheart. Daddy's okay. She climbed into the chair beside him and rested her head on his shoulder. Daddy, why are people saying bad things about you? Cole took a breath. Because sometimes when you tell the truth, people don't want to hear it. But you always tell me lying is bad. That's right. Then why do grown-ups lie so much? Cole was quiet for a moment. Because lying feels easier than being brave. Lily looked up at him, eyes just like Grace's. Daddy, are you scared? Yes. But you still do it. Yes. Then that's brave, Lily said with certainty. Mom told me. Being brave means you're scared, but you still do the right thing. Her voice was tiny, steady. And in that moment, Cole knew he would never call Olivia Sterling. He could not teach his daughter that truth could be bought with fear. Your mom was the bravest person I ever knew, Cole whispered. And you're the second bravest. Lily shook her head. Number I am. Cole held her gently, and he realized something profound. He wasn't protecting his daughter. She, this 6-year-old child, was giving him strength. That wasn't weakness. It was love. And that was why he would never sign that paper. The courtroom was smaller than Cole expected. Davidson County Supreme Court. Room 4 Bonley, about 30 people filled the benches. Mostly reporters and supporters who had lined up since dawn. Harper Weston sat at the plaintiff's table, surrounded by 5 attorneys in tailored suits. She wore a navy jacket, her expression composed, polished into the familiar image of a wounded celebrity. Cole sat at the defense table between Melissa Morales and Ray. He wore the only white dress shirt he owned. This wasn't the trial yet. It was a preliminary hearing. Harper's request for an injunction to silence Cole, Autumn Hayes, and Trevor Hudson from making what she called defamatory statements. Judge Patricia Donovan entered the courtroom. Early 60s, more than 20 years on the bench. Her eyes moved from Harper's legal team to Cole. Something flickered across her face, brief, deliberate. "Miss Sterling," the judge said to Olivia, "you are requesting a gag order against a janitor." "Your Honor," Olivia replied smoothly, "the defendant's occupation does not lessen the harm caused by his false statements." "Are they false?" Judge Donovan asked sharply. "That is precisely the issue," Olivia said. "These statements were made with malicious intent to destroy my client's reputation." "After," the judge interrupted, "your client publicly humiliated him on stage." The room went very still. Melissa Morales rose from her seat. "If the court allows, Your Honor, I would like to present unedited footage from the gala." The courtroom lights dimmed as the video began to play. Everyone watched Harper drag Cole onto the stage. They heard the whispered words, "Fail quietly," broadcast through an open microphone. They watched, in undeniable clarity, as Harper failed to reach the high note. When the screen went dark, the silence was absolute. "Your Honor," Melissa said steadily, "the plaintiff did not summon Mr. Brennan because he lied. She summoned him because he told the truth, and that truth cost her money. That is not defamation. That is consequence." Judge Donovan turned to Olivia Sterling. "Do you have any evidence that Mr. Brennan's statements are false?" "Your Honor," Olivia began, "the music industry routinely uses vocal support and enhancement." "I didn't ask that," the judge interrupted. "Yes or no?" Olivia hesitated. "We believe the context has been misunderstood, so that's a no," Judge Donovan said, making a note. She turned back to Melissa. "Do you have evidence supporting Mr. Brennan's claims?" "Yes, Your Honor, I call Autumn Hayes." Autumn stepped forward and was sworn in. Melissa walked the court through the evidence. Contracts, North Dakota as raw recordings, emails explicitly instructing that Autumn was never to be credited, despite providing vocals for Harper's albums. "Miss Hayes," Melissa asked, "when you heard Cole Brennan say Harper Weston couldn't sing that note, what did you think?" Autumn swallowed. "I thought, finally someone said it. And was he right?" "Yes," Autumn said firmly. "Completely." Melissa sat down. Olivia stood to cross. "Examine." But Judge Donovan raised her hand. "I've heard enough." The judge turned directly to Harper Weston. "Miss Weston, I will ask you one question. You are not on the stand, but you are still under oath. Right now, in this courtroom, can you sing the note in question?" Harper's face drained of color. "Your Honor, I fail to see how this is relevant." "Highly relevant," Judge Donovan replied. "You are asking this court to silence people who say you cannot sing that note, then prove them wrong. Sing it." The courtroom held its breath. Harper glanced at her lawyers, then at the judge, then at Cole. My voice isn't warmed up." "You have performed on demand for 15 years, the judge said evenly. "Surely you can demonstrate now." Harper's mouth opened, then closed. No sound came out. "Just as I thought," Judge Donovan said, bringing the gavel down sharply. "The request for an injunction is denied." Gasps rippled through the room. "Furthermore," the judge continued, "this court sanctions the plaintiff for filing a frivolous action intended to silence truthful speech." The gavel struck again. The courtroom erupted. Judge Donovan looked directly at Cole. "Mr. Brennan, you are free to continue telling your story. That is called the First Amendment. It protects the truth, even when the truth is inconvenient." Outside the courthouse, Rachel Bennett from 60 Minutes waited with cameras rolling. "Cole, how do you feel?" Cole exhaled slowly, "Like I can finally breathe." That evening, the 60 Minutes episode aired. 18 million people watched. By the closing credits, Harper's remaining sponsors withdrew. Her record label terminated her contract. Her Las Vegas residency was canceled. The Grammy committee announced a formal review of her awards. A career built on stolen voices and protected lies collapsed, undone by a father who refused to stay silent. But Cole's greatest victory didn't happen in a courtroom. It came 3 days later. At 6 o'clock in the morning, Cole's phone rang. An unfamiliar number. "Mr. Brennan, this is the office of John Legend. Mr. Legend would like to cover the full medical costs for your daughter. All $85,000. Cole sat straight up in bed. Words failed him. Tears came before understanding did, and it didn't stop there. Within 24 hours, Alicia Keys called, offering to cover Lily's post-surgery recovery expenses. Kelly Clarkson tweeted a call to action for a GoFundMe. $250,000 was raised in 6 hours. Lily's school held an emergency meeting and voted unanimously to support Cole. They formally rejected Harper's donation, but the most important moment came quietly. Lily's surgery was scheduled for the following week. Dr. Walsh explained everything clearly. No false hope, open heart surgery, 8 hours, a 15% risk of complications. Without surgery, Lily would not live to see her 10th birthday. On the morning of the operation, Cole sat beside Lily's bed as nurses prepared to wheel her away. "Daddy," she whispered. "I'm here, sweetheart. I'm scared." Cole squeezed her hand. "I'm scared too, but you still stood up for what was right, even when you were scared." Cole smiled, eyes burning. "Because you taught me what bravery is, Lily, every single day." She smiled back, just like Grace. "Will you sing for me, Daddy?" Cole sang, "You Are My Sunshine," as they rolled her toward the operating room. He sang until the doors closed behind her. Then he collapsed into a chair. The next 8 hours were the longest of his life. By the 6th hour, his thoughts drifted to Grace, to 5 years of silence, to every moment he wanted to sing but couldn't, because grief crushed his chest. At the 8th hour, the doors opened. Dr. Walsh stepped out, exhausted, but smiling. "The surgery was successful. Your daughter's heart is healthy now." Cole broke down completely. 3 hours later, Lily woke in recovery. Cole sat beside her, holding her hand, smiling through tears. "Daddy," she whispered, "you did it. Did you sing for me yet? Do you want to hear it?" "Yes," she said softly. "Your singing makes my heart feel better." So Cole sang, right there in the recovery room. The nurses stopped to listen. He sang Somewhere Over the Rainbow. His voice was a little rusty after 5 years of silence, but it was beautiful, not because of technique, not because of fame, but because it was real, and because it was alive. When the song ended, Lily smiled and drifted gently back to sleep. In that quiet moment, something shifted inside Cole's chest for the first time in 5 years. He felt it clearly. His voice had returned, not for a stage, not for money, but for love. 18 months later, Cole Brennan stood backstage at the Ryman Auditorium once again. But this time, he wasn't the man who mopped the floors. He was the artist. In the front row sat Lily, 8 years old now, healthy and radiant. Her heart had been repaired. The surgical scar on her chest had faded into a thin silver line, like the mark of a battle already won. The road back hadn't been easy or straight. After Lily's surgery, 5 major record labels came calling at once. Cole turned them all down. "I won't leave Lily," he said. "Not now, not ever." Instead, he signed with an independent artist-owned label, Heart Song Records, run by people who were parents themselves. People who understood that family always comes before career. His contract was unlike anything else in the industry. A flexible schedule. Lily could travel with him everywhere. Cole retained full ownership of his music, and 15% of all revenue went directly into a fund he created himself. He called it Unbreakable Voices, a scholarship program for young singers from working class backgrounds. No NDAs, no exploitative contracts, just training, legal education, and real support. In the first year, 50 scholarships were awarded. By the third year, 200. Cole recorded his debut album, Silent No More, co-written with Autumn Hayes. It was a collection of songs about reclaiming courage, telling the truth, and daring to say no when the world expects silence. The album went gold in just 6 weeks. The music videos were filmed where Cole's voice had truly been born. The East Nashville Community Church, where he once sang with Grace. The Ryman Auditorium, where he once cleaned floors, and the hospital room, where he sang Lily to sleep. In the final chorus of the album's lead single, Lily appeared, her voice clear, steady, unafraid. Text faded onto the screen, "Your voice matters." The industry changed, fast and permanently. California passed Assembly Bill 2847, known as the Brennan Act, requiring full transparency for any live performance using pre-recorded vocals. Tickets now had to disclose it clearly. Violations were classified as consumer fraud. Within 18 months, 12 states passed similar laws. The Recording Academy overhauled its crediting rules. Every song submitted for awards had to fully disclose all contributing vocalists. The vague term additional vocals was eliminated. Spotify and Apple Music added full credits tabs to every song's studio singers, silent for decades, finally had names. A studio singers union formed, with 2,000 members in its first year. Autumn Hayes' career exploded. After 15 years in the shadows, she appeared on magazine covers. Her debut solo album won a Grammy. In her acceptance speech, she said, "I was afraid for 15 years. A 32-year-old man showed me what courage really looks like." And Harper Weston, she never recovered. 3 months after the court ruling, Harper filed for bankruptcy. A class action lawsuit resulted in $23 million in ticket refunds to 15,000 audience members. Both of her Grammy Awards were officially revoked. She attempted a comeback 6 months later with a tour titled Unplugged and Unfiltered. Ticket sales reached 11%. After the third show, the tour was canceled. The last the public heard of her, Harper was teaching music business courses for an online college. But this story was never about Harper's fall. It was about what Rose concert night. Ryman Auditorium. Cole stood backstage, heart pounding. This was his first concert. Before stepping on stage, he walked into the custodial room. The familiar scent of cleaning solution and floor wax filled the air. Ray was there, holding a mop. "You did it, kid," Ray said, placing a hand on Cole's shoulder, not like a father to a son, but like two men who respected each other. "No," Cole smiled. "We did. Everyone who was ever told their voice didn't matter." Cole walked onto the stage. Lily sat in the front row wearing a shirt that read, "My dad's voice saved me." The auditorium was packed, not with 500 wealthy patrons holding expensive tickets, but with 2,000 working people who had lined up early: janitors, nurses, teachers, single parents, people who had spent their lives being told they were invisible. Cole opened with "Silent, no more." His voice wasn't perfect. Traces of 5 years of silence still lingered, but it was real. For the second song, he invited Autumn Hayes onto the stage. Together, they sang Higher Ground. When they reached the final C6, clear, accurate, and truly theirs, the auditorium exploded. For the final song, Cole called Lily onto the stage. "This is my daughter," he said. "2 years ago, I almost lost her. And in that fear, I found my voice again. Not for fame, not for money, but for love." They sang "You Are My Sunshine" together. As the final note faded, the cameras cut to the Ryman's custodial staff, the people who once worked beside Cole. They stood applauding, many in tears. A sign rose above the crowd. "We always knew you could sing." Cole looked out at the audience, people who had once been unseen, now fully visible, and spoke his final words. "To everyone who was ever told to stay silent, you are not invisible anymore." The curtain fell to thunderous applause. "If you stayed until this very moment, thank you." Truly, Cole's story isn't just about music. It's about truth, about courage, about how one ordinary person can change an entire system simply by refusing to stay silent. Before you go, tell me, where are you watching this story from? A big city, a small town, or a quiet corner somewhere in the world? Leave a comment below, because here, every voice matters. And if you believe stories like this deserve to be told, stories about ordinary people, about truth, and about difficult but right choices, hit subscribe right now, because in the next video, it just might be your story that gets heard. See you next time, Faye.